Now, where are we with Arsenal's pursuit of Bruno Guimaraes? Well, the player has told Newcastle he wants to join the champions, but as Keith Downey explains, there's frustration in the Newcastle hierarchy.
Bruno Guimaraes will be 29 soon. He's an absolute darling of the Newcastle United fan base. We know that, but he's ambitious. He wants to win trophies. He doesn't want to end his career having only won the Carabao Cup and potentially a cup with Newcastle. Look, Newcastle aren't going to win the Premier League. He wants to win titles. He knows he'll have the opportunity to do that with Arsenal, but they need to come to the table and show Newcastle the colour of their money. There's various reports out there saying that Arsenal have made bids to Newcastle via intermediaries, via middlemen. Well, look, as we sit here this morning, Arsenal have not contacted Newcastle. And as I understand it, Newcastle have actually reached out to Arsenal and said, "Look, are you serious about this? Are you real? Are you trying to sign this player because we've had nothing from you?" It's all being played through agents. I think it's frustrating for Newcastle because without doubt it's unsettling the player. Hence why he said he would like to explore his options elsewhere. It feels like it's going to rumble on for a bit. What will be the figure what would be the tipping point for Newcastle? I reckon probably, I think it has to start with an 8. You know, remember, he is going to be 29 soon. I know they got £100 million for Sandro Tonali, but he's 3 years younger. He's 3 years, older than Sandro Tonali. Yeah. So that would mean his value's a little bit less. Yeah. Look, Newcastle desperate not to sell him. They've said he's not for sale, but once a player agitates to go, it's really difficult to hold on to him.
Say Arsenal spoke to Newcastle, they will know 100% that Bruno Guimaraes definitely wants to go to Arsenal. We kind of know that anyway because he's kind of intimated privately to Newcastle United that if, and it's a big if, Arsenal meet a price that they are comfortable with, that they feel is his valuation, he would be open to speaking to them and open to joining them. He doesn't want to be that player who is in the Isak scenario where he's not going to go on strike, he's not going to do any of that. He understands the position that Newcastle United are in. I would expect Arsenal to make some sort of formal move sooner rather than later on this because it's gone so far down the line behind the scenes for it not to go anywhere. So it's clear the player wants to go and Arsenal want him. The problem Newcastle United have got is, well, on the positive side, he's under contract. They're under no pressure to do any business. But again, the will of the player. And if he really wants to go, then Newcastle United are going to have a decision to make.
Well, Guimaraes isn't the only player Arsenal are interested in. We at Sky Sports News understand they've also joined Liverpool in the race for Bradley Barcola.
They are looking at Bradley Barcola as well. And rather like Atletico Madrid, PSG are saying, no, this player is not for sale. But while they're doing that, they are very, very interested in Yan Diomande and trying to get a deal done for Yan Diomande to strengthen that attack. Now, if you go back to last season, in the biggest games, the quarterfinals of the Champions League against Liverpool, the semi-finals of the Champions League against Bayern Munich, the final itself in Budapest against Arsenal, it's Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, Desiree Doué who started all of those games. And it was Barcola who was the odd man out and he came off the bench. Number one, is he going to be happy to do that again next season? But if Diomande turns up as well, how far down the pecking order is Barcola going to find himself? And it just seems to be a very, very good fit if Arsenal were to bring in someone like Barcola.
Chelsea have added to their roster, completing the signing of England midfielder Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa for what is now a British record transfer fee of £117 million. It's going to be a 6-year contract with an option for a further year. Of course, he's going to be linking up with Chelsea's new glittering manager in Xabi Alonso. Gab, tell us more about this deal.
It's a lot of money. Obviously, everybody or a lot of people thought the smart money was on Arsenal to go and pick him up. Arsenal reportedly were given a chance to go and match Chelsea's bid, but they said no, we like him, but we don't like him at that number. I think the plan from Chelsea obviously is going to be to use him down that left hand side. With they obviously hope to shift Garnacho. Gittins, I guess, would be his understudy. Maybe Neto too, when he switches over. Esteval or Cole Palmer on the right, or Cole Palmer through the middle, Esteban on the right. You've also got Neto in the mix. Obviously, Xabi Alonso was promised investment, and certainly comes. They also made promises to UEFA about PSR, and they have a ton of players that they need to shift, especially for a club that's not going to be playing in Europe next season. Just strikers alone, they're at 6. They want to go down to 3. So now comes the difficult part, which is going to be balancing the books, because this is, needless to say, an enormous investment.
Yeah, it is an enormous investment. I think the price tag, which of course is no fault to the player at all, but because we have been looking at how Chelsea do transfer business, and they've not exactly been getting a grade A from us. Stevie, what do you make of this one?
I actually think this is one of the better ones. Absolutely. You know, this guy will score goals from the middle of the park, and he will do other jobs as well. And I actually think he will do great with João Pedro. You know, João Pedro's not your normal number 9. He's more of a Bobby Firmino that played at Liverpool, where he'll score his fair share of goals, but he will come off and be a playmaker. And for me, that means Rodgers will be getting in the box. So, yeah, I think this is a great signing. I guess we all question the price, but at the end of the day, if we're talking football, he absolutely makes this team better.
Chaka?
Good signing. Again, I'll double down, triple down at this point on what everybody said. That is an awful lot of money. But 23 years old, there's an upside to this. But proven talent, certainly in this league, adds to Chelsea better than a lot of what they have in that dressing room. That's the going price, so be it. But again, I'll leave it to Gab to explain the old PSR and no Champions League and all, because that makes absolutely no sense to me when you see clubs like Villa, clubs like Newcastle, and what they're dealing with in that regard, and Chelsea go and do this. It just doesn't seem to add up fully.
Gab, you want to take a crack at that?
Yeah, well, basically, there's 2 strands for this. They have slightly different parameters. There's the UEFA version of PSR. There's the Premier League version of PSR. And they limit the amount of spending you can do over a certain period of time as well. Also, UEFA have squad cost rules where the total amount of amortization and wages and what you spend on agents can't be more than a certain percentage of your revenue. Chelsea's revenue is going to go down this season because they don't have European football and certainly not Champions League football. They're already under a settlement agreement with UEFA, which means that they've already been fined. There's more fines to come. The fines have been suspended. They need to figure out a way to make this work. And on paper, most people look at this and say, all right, you need to shift players. I think the difficult thing is when you spend the money first before you shift the players, I don't know, maybe they were hoping to shift, well take Garnacho, who we know they're going to shift. Now you know Chelsea have to let him go to raise money. So obviously that's going to change your negotiating stance. Enzo Fernandez obviously did himself no favors in the Champions League final in case he was thinking of moving on. Now they're an even more motivated seller. Strikers, you know, we said, you got Nico Jackson, you got Emega, you got Liam Delap, you've got Mark Yu, you've got João Pedro. I'm sure there's somebody else I'm forgetting in the mix. You now have to move these players for transfer fees, and it's extremely difficult to do because everybody's seen the numbers. So unless they have something big lined up, which I think helps offset this expense, or unless they think they have some sort of ace in the hole, whether legal or otherwise, I think it's going to be very, very tough. And another big gamble from a club which, as we've seen, is not afraid to gamble.
Yeah, before we get to Don, Shaq, did that clear that up for you?
Yeah.
Yep. We feel all the wiser now?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like sitting in a lecture.
Phew. I was worried for a moment.
Do you agree with all the boys here saying that this is good business all around, even though it is a hefty price tag?
Yeah, I think Villa win. I think Villa win with a price tag. I think it allows them to try and shuffle their decks and bring new players in. I think on Gab's point, I think there is going to be, Cucurella's left the door, but I think there's going to be quite a few Chelsea players that are going to be shifted on so they can try and make, I don't know, about 150 million, whether that's enough or not. But in terms of the player, I agree with Stevie. I think he's versatile. He's showing that he can play off the left. He can play 10. He can even play as a number 8. He's durable. He's effective. At his age, I think it's the given rate. The unfortunate thing for him is any good young player now, when you're moving from Premier League to Premier League, you're going probably for over 100 million. So that's something he's got to try and contend with. But he looks like he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he's definitely got the ability.
All right, well, it's been a while since anybody gave Chelsea an A+, which is what I'm feeling for business, but look at that.
Who gave him an A+?
Well, I'm just assuming it sounded like an A+ from everybody.
Every single one of us said the price tag is wrong.
But still, great business.
Well, how's it great business?
You just said he's someone that could help, the club, and ultimately, if they win trophies with him,